As the OHL season winds down, I thought it would be a good idea to catch up with the three overagers from the Kitchener Rangers. So I'm pleased to be joined at our Rogers TV studio by Mitchell Martin. Mitch, thanks for taking time with me today.
Thanks for having me.
First, I want to touch on your road to the OHL, right? You were a fourth-round pick, but you went to the NOJHL first. Tell me a bit about that experience and what it was like being so close to home for you.
Yeah, well, it was a pretty easy decision. I was 16, and my parents didn't exactly love the idea of me going away from home to just play junior hockey that we have at home. So I knew a bunch of guys on the team. Pretty much I knew the whole team coming in, so it was really good. They were all mostly from Sudbury, and I just decided that I liked the coach. I went to their, I guess you could call it like a development camp sort of thing, and I liked everybody there. And then when I got cut at 16 from Kitchener, I decided that would be a good place to hone my craft.
So that place was Rayside Balfour, the Canadians, and when I looked at the roster of this team, not a lot of NOJHL teams can say that 10 of those players went on to play in the OHL, and one of them actually is an OHL broadcaster in
Yeah.
David Bowen. Talk a bit about that talent on this team you had.
Well, yeah, we had. I think, when we got shut down there, we were first in the league, so we had a really good squad. I think we had a couple guys get sent down at the deadline. So right at the end of the year, I think we had 3 signed OHL players on our fourth line. So we were pretty deep, and we were poised for a good run there.
Pretty good. One of them even went on to become a captain in Zach Giroux. There's a lot of talent there. So you mentioned when you got shut down. So obviously the COVID season, right, lost the entire OHL season. That would arguably have been your OHL debut. I would think I'm pretty safe in saying that.
Yeah.
How did you mentally deal with not going to the OHL when you expected and having to wait a year?
Yeah. I mean, mentally it was. It was what it was. I mean, everybody was going through the same thing. I think it was just, it was more so just like the development side of things. Like there was 2 separate occasions where we had 3 months where no rinks were open in Sudbury. Like that's half a year of not skating at a pretty crucial, age. So yeah, it was obviously really hard, but there was pretty much everybody in the province going through it. So, yeah, it was obviously tough, but I mean, I'm glad we got to come in at 18 and get going then.
So you got going at 18, Sudbury to Kitchener. How was that transition for you? Those are entirely different cities and different communities, other than the fact that they both love their hockey.
Yeah.
How did you adjust to Kitchener?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit quieter in Sudbury, less traffic and stuff like that. But I really like coming here. My first billet family, the Emmerichs, they welcomed me, a warm welcome. They were really nice the whole time. And now my billets for the last 2 years, Deb and Rob, they've been really good. They're really close with my parents, and they treat me like their son. So I love them.
That's great.
Yeah.
So obviously this season you dealt with some injuries, or one significant injury.
Yeah.
You dealt with some injuries last year as well. And Mitch, a lot of times this has been, you're sitting there, and I know the competitor you are. You're watching the team struggle in your absence. So I want to ask you how difficult that was. And do you feel any sort of bitterness, the fact that when all the draft eyes are usually on in those traditional times, you're kind of sitting on the sidelines?
Yeah.
How did that all make you feel?
Yeah, well, last year with my wrist, I mean, stuff happens. Like you can't control the little things. This year it was a little bit more, I'd say a little bit more bitter, just because it was from overtraining in the summer, and it was definitely something that was avoidable. Which it's obviously doesn't sit right with me. Just given that I've lost so much time to something that wasn't just an accident. It was something that could have been avoided. But yeah, and then obviously from the team perspective, watching us. There was a good stretch this year where when I was out we were doing well, but then it's obviously anytime we're struggling or anytime we're you feel like you could do something and you can't. It's really hard. It sucks. But yeah, it's really good to be back out there, even though I'm not fully up to my capabilities. It's still good to help in any way I can.
You're a real physical presence on this team, Mitch, and at times when you were out, some other teams maybe took some liberties because you were out of the lineup. Did that make you see a little red from the sidelines?
Yeah, for sure. One game in particular, when London gave us that beating there at the Bud. I'm not even sure when that was, but that was really hard to watch. And I'm glad that my first game back was against London and that we got to beat them.
When the OA deadline came and passed, right, there was a lot of talk. Roman Schmidt had been sent back here, so it's an OA situation with 4 really talented guys, and there was a lot of online discussion on who the Rangers were going to keep. I was pretty certain who the 3 were going to be, but once that OA deadline passed, how much of a sigh of relief did you breathe knowing you're going to finish your season as a Kitchener Ranger?
Yeah, to that I'll say that the coaches were, and our GMs and our managers, they were very transparent with all 4 of us, with the situation. Obviously, I was a little worried just because, like, I can't even. I've done what I can. I couldn't really battle for a spot at that point, but yeah, they were super transparent, kind of laid it all out for us, and then when it passed, I obviously wanted to stay with this team. I love these guys. It's just a great environment at the rink this year, and I couldn't be more grateful that they had faith in me to heal and recover, and I can't thank them enough.
Every team has 3 overagers that they have to say goodbye to at the end of the year, but something about this group. I know the 3 of you are really, really tight. I see the way you interact with each other off the ice. I saw you all arrive here at the studio together today. What is it about the 3 of you that you just have a bond?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. We're best friends. I guess we've only had 3 years together, but yeah, we're just all of us. I think we're very similar, but we are unique in our own ways. But yeah, we like to have fun. We're and anytime we're together, it's a good time. So I think, yeah, just being at the rink, on days off, anything like that, it's always a blast with those guys.
I'll preface these next 2 questions for you by saying, at the time of recording, the regular season hasn't finished yet, and we haven't started the playoffs. So I know that the answers may still be yet to come. But in your OHL career thus far, what's been your favorite moment?
Yeah, again, hopefully we have a few more better moments at the end of this year, but I would say Game 7 against London when I was 18. I'll never forget that.
I asked this question. Anybody that's on this, Mike Patesian, overtime winner, how can they possibly give another answer?
No, I know.
What's your favorite goal that you've ever scored as a Kitchener Ranger?
Well, I had a goal that game, but probably my favorite goal, I think it was Game 3 last year against Windsor. It was they just scored 2-2 with like 7.5 minutes left, and then I got on the ice and they turned it over, and I had a big body goal down the ice, and that was really something else. Full house. That was
something else.
I think that was my favorite one.
I do recall that. There was a very, very loud reaction to that. Listen, I know you were 18 when you joined the Kitchener Rangers, but let's go back to, let's imagine COVID didn't happen. 16, 17-year-old Mitchell Martin's about to embark on his trip to Kitchener, maybe his first camp, the first camp that you got cut from.
Sure.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give that kid about his upcoming OHL career?
Oh, geez, I'd probably just tell him not to take it too seriously, not to look too deeply into certain things. Like I remember thinking, like, oh my God, I got cut from the OHL at 16 and I didn't get invited to U17s. Like, I'm not going to be anybody. Like, I think there's tons of stories out there, like both Jack guys, for example, like Arbor in particular, like he wasn't even that good at 18. So I think just get better every day, don't take it too seriously, and there's always going to be bumps in the road, so just be happy on the journey.
Arbor is a good example of what hard work can do, and I will tell you from an outside observer, I see the work that you do. So it's very similar, your work ethic, so you should be really proud of that. Okay, last question for you. What does it mean to be a Kitchener Ranger?
Oh, it means the world. I mean, now that my time here is coming to an end, I don't think it's something that I've made so many memories here. I don't think it's something I'll ever ever forget in my life. Just all the memories we have with all the guys. It's your funnest 5 years of your life, I'd say. Even if you go all the way to the big leagues, I think everybody ever has said that your time in junior is pretty special, and that you don't forget it. But yeah, it just means the world, and I'm so grateful that I got to spend my whole career in Kitchener.
We're grateful that we got to watch you play hockey here, Mitchell, and wherever hockey takes you in the future. I know you've got all of Rangers Nation cheering for you. Thanks for everything you've brought to this team and to this community, and good luck with everything in the future.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Mitchell Martin.